Hello, welcome to Sunday Comic Investment Chat. Beautiful day, crisp day in Sarasota. I don't expect many people to be joining me this early on Sunday morning. It is what today's date. My mind's not, the coffee has not set in yet. It is the 6th of January 2019. Welcome to the two people that is watching. A little chilly today. That's why I got the jacket on. I debated about turning on the heat, but I figure just leave it the way it is because Anthony's still sleeping and he liked the cold under the big blanket. So might as well leave the house. Right now it is about 66 degrees in the house, which is just fine. Hello, Woody Warren. Let's jump right into it. First up, though, a quick housekeeping. My bad and apology for the horrible audio on many of my podcasts. I did not realize how poor they were. A lot of time I load the podcast without listening to them because in the back of my mind, I'm just like, oh, if everybody can hear them in the chat, what's what could be the problem? Well, I realize now how poorly many of the Wednesday night chat has been. So I'm gonna delete all of those podcasts until I can figure out how to record the podcast with better volume because the volume on the Sunday. See, when I'm talking like this by myself, the audio is fine on the podcast. When I have other people in the live chat, like the Wednesday night chat, the recording of other people's voices are so low, absolutely ridiculous, poor, bad. So I'm not going to load them until I'm not going to convert them into a podcast going forward until I figure out how to fix the problem because it is pointless to load those podcasts and it's just terrible. Heck, if I download that podcast to listen to, I would delete my channel. I would unsub so fast because it's a waste of time. It's stupid. Kurt 68, hopefully you feel better, my friend. Sorry to hear the bad health. Do the best you can, get better, and get home is the best advice I can give and the only advice I can give. Right, so what's going on with the stock market this past week? Much better. Why? The Fed has come off their stand of being hawkish. That means that they want to raise rate to slow down the economy. The market has behaved poorly in the past month, 6 weeks, mainly because the Fed, GM folks, Blade Runner said, I guess he said that to buy GM stocks. But the Fed has had this mode of raising rate to slow down the hot economy. And the stock market has reacted very poorly over the past 6 weeks or 2 months because the economy is slowing without the Fed intervention because of the trade problem with China. There's a lot of issues going on right now in the world. Europe are slowing down. Oh, thank you, Blade Runner, for clarifying. GM for good morning, not buying GM stock. Thank you. I don't have any opinion on automobile stock at the moment, so I would know what to say about buying GM stock or not. But the Fed on Wednesday, Thursday, has reversed their view in raising. Well, they have not come out and say, oh, we're gonna stop raising rate. They didn't say that. They said that they're not gonna raise rate like a robots, like they planned to. 6 months ago, they were in the mode of like, we're gonna keep raising a quarter point of interest every 3 months for the next year. That was the mode that they were going with, even with a slowdown in the economy. The last thing you want to do is raise rate when the economy is decelerating. Okay, that's a recipe for a recession and a stock market crash. And the stock market sent a very strong message, and seemed like the Fed took the cue from that and changed their view on the economy and what they're gonna do with interest rate. So it's a good thing. Does that mean that everything is all clear to go in and buy? Ooh, no. The answer is no. Okay, because for those that follow my chat last week, I brought up the point that Apple issued a big warning. One of the very few times that Apple has done such a thing, and it took a beating. Okay, and way back in November, in one of my chat, someone asked if I would invest in Apple. Okay, for those that follow my Sunday investment chat, I mentioned back then that I would not touch Apple. And guess what? It came down. And I bought some Apple a couple days ago when it was 142 something. So, yes, I bought some Apple for my son college saving account. I bought some at 142.56 to be exact. So, not a bad thing. I trade a lot. There's a lot of things I bought and sold last week and this past week. Make some money on all of the trades because I bought, when the market was really ugly, and the past 2 or 3 days when the market rebound and snap back, guess what? I sold them. I sold those trading position for profit and go back on the sideline with my cash. Justin said rate has been low for too long. Correct. Rate has been low for too long, but raising rate in a slowdown economy is also not the answer. The Fed was behind. Let me make it very clear. The Fed was behind, in my opinion, in raising rate last year. And if they were going to raise rate, they should have raised it last year, earlier, when the economy was still much stronger. Okay? There's a difference. Just because rate is low does not mean that it shouldn't stay low. Well, it shouldn't stay low last year. Timing is everything. Okay? Just like in the comic book hobby, timing is everything. Just like in any investment, timing is everything. It is silly to buy like a monkey or like a robot. That's why I have harped about this since my first podcast on Sunday, that I am against buying things, automatically like a robot every week with your paycheck, every month with your paycheck. No. Be smart about it. I understand some people do not have the time. Some people don't have the time. Okay, I understand that. I'm not saying that, if you invest automatically with your paycheck every week, you stupid. Far from that. Okay, I'm saying that there are alternative. I've been saying this now for many weeks on my channel. There are alternative investment methods for those that have the time and willing to learn how to trade the market. Other than that, if you don't have the time to trade the market or to learn how to trade, then yes, do what you have been doing for the past 10 or 20 years. That's fine. Nothing wrong with it. But just don't preach to me about, you know, automatic investment is the best thing and 85% of the portfolio don't beat the market. Well, I like to be on the other 15%. Thank you. As far as the market, let's visit the chart that I pull up. Okay, I put up this chart last. Well, unfortunately, let me see if I can figure out how to share. I don't know if I can share the chart, but if I can't, then I can't show it. But back to the market. Am I saying that everything is fine now? The answer is no. As in my previous week where I show you how the chart went down, bounced, went down again, bounced, and then went down again. There was three major legs down. Okay, we have had two major legs down so far in the past 3 months. Two. Okay, since I can't figure out how to share my chart, unfortunately, maybe I will do it next week. But I can tell you what I have on the screen. Since late September, of 2018, when the market, the S&P 500, hit the all-time high, we had the initial major downturn of 10%. As of the end of October, we were down 10%. And then we rose, we snapped back up 6.5%. So we went down 10%, and then we bounced back 6.5%. And then we have another leg down 16%, a decline of 16% in December. The worst December ever. Ever. Okay, that's say a lot. The worst December ever. And now, since Christmas, since the end of the year, guess what? We have returned, especially last week, 7.7%. But cumulative wise, from the end of September to Friday, last Friday, the market is down roughly about 13%. Okay, so is the third leg of the market down coming? Possibly. Okay, I did not buy in on the first leg. I bought some, like I mentioned, a little apple for my son saving account for college. But I am 50% plus in cash. So that give you the sentiment on where I am. I told one of my friend that asked me about what I'm doing, what I am doing with my portfolio, and yes, at this point I am roughly 52% in cash. Okay, I started out 2 months ago with about 40% in cash, and right now I am about 52% in cash. I'm content with the remaining position in the market because many of those positions are long-term holding that I'm happy with the companies. If they decline 10% or more, should the market crash even worse in the next few months or weeks, it's fine. At least 52% of my money is in cash right now, waiting to buy bargains. Now, as far as Apple, sure, I bought it at around 142.5. Right now, it's like 148. Would I recommend people to buy at 148? No. So I don't know. I don't know where Apple is heading. Those positions that I bought from my son's account is, this is a few years down the road. There's no rush to sell them. If the stock, for whatever crazy reason, decide to go up 30 points next week, then I would probably cash out, okay? For now, you know, you buy things for long term with a long term goal. Now let's segue into comic books. Just like with the stock market, when I buy something, when I bought something, I have a target. I have a discipline to say that, okay, I bought Apple at 142. I think the stock can be 200 in 2 years. Okay, hypothetically speaking. What would I do if the stock got to 200 in 2 months? Hold on to it and say, oh, now I'm going to revise my target from 200 to 400. I will sell when it hit to 400. No. If my original target was getting out at 200 2 years from now, but from the luck of whatever reason, Apple is at 200 2 months later, you bet I am out. Okay? You bet I am out. I have the discipline to say thank you and walk away with most of it. Now, will I sell everything? No. I have a rule where I will sell, my initial sale would be maybe half, or take out, or eventually take out all the money that I put in. So all I have left is a profit in the position. So I let it ride. So let's say I put 50,000 into Apple, and then the position rose to 80,000. What would I do? I would sell 50,000 and let the profit, the 30,000, ride. Okay? How long? Until I say it's time to get the F out. Good as gold says, yes, playing with house money. That's what traders do. Okay? And even with house money, you will take it off the table eventually. It could be next week. Heck, if Apple keep going up silly like a straight line, in any investment, whether it's Bitcoin, gold, stocks, whenever you see an investment go hyper, okay? By hyper, I say this. When the trajectory of the price start to go 90 degrees up, get the F out. Get the F out, okay? Note, in the history of investing and speculating in anything that went like this, does this. everything that went hyperbolic straight up does the reverse sooner or later. A lot of times sooner than you can imagine. You got to know when to walk away. Azkaban's, thank you. You said what was on my mind, on my lips coming out. You have to know when to walk away. In my younger days, I used to go to Vegas with my buddies when we're single, to party and to play, to gamble. And I have a rule. If I have a hot hand, I play until the hot hand end, and then I walk away. I don't stay at the table on a bet run. I have a rule. If I sit at the blackjack table and I lose 3 hands in a row, I'm walking. Okay, I'm standing up and walk away, because that's a bad shoot. I don't want to stick around until another 15 round to see another shoot and then see if my luck will change. No, it's a bad shoot. The shuffle was not in my favor. The rotation is not in my favor. I'm moving on. I'm taking a break. Just like in the stock market, when things go south, you walk away. Throwing more money in is not the wise thing. Okay, that's why I'm not a fan of throwing money into a bad investment, hoping to recoup your money. When it's bad, get the F out. There are so many good companies, so many good potential to invest in. Why throw more money at a bad position. Let's segue into comic books. I, I kind of go in tangent. Now, in comic book, it's the same thing. Okay, we talk about this all the time. When you see a hot speculative book does this, it's time to cash out. You cannot, you should not put emotion into the books where I love that book. That book does not love you back. Okay? If you bought that book somehow before the hotness happened and the book jumped from $5 to $100, cash out. You know, especially if you have multiple copies. You know, whenever I see people with multiple copies of hot books, the first thing that crosses my mind is I hope you sell some of that. Because holding a table full of a hot book to brag on Instagram is not going to get you rich. All of these on Instagram is not going to get you rich. Selling for profit is going to get you rich or richer. I think what I just said there was going to anger a few Instagram followers. No worry, I'm not on Instagram for the most part. I think Instagram for me is to show pictures of a couple of things that I eat that I thought was pretty. Food. I use Instagram mostly for food and not for comic books. I stopped doing that. It's been a while. I think it's been probably at least 6 or 8 months since I took a picture of a comic book to show on Instagram. It's been a while, but after I vowed to stay off Instagram for comic books. I will still use it if I go on vacation or to restaurant, anything like that. Azkaban said, how much higher is House of Secret 92 going to go? I don't know. I got off that boat early. I can admit that I sold 3 copies at great profit, but they have went up even higher, like 30-40% higher than the 3 books that I sold. Would I buy House of Secret 92? Hell no. Hell no. Nah, hell no. When it comes to it, you know, I had the discipline that, you know, if something gets so hard, I don't care what people are pumping. I don't care what people are saying. I am getting the F out. For those that follow the stock market, you remember, I'm sure if you follow the stock market, especially high tech, I'm sure you have heard of NVIDIA, the company. NVIDIA make chips, all kind of chips. And they were exploding in growth. They were hot. They were making chips for graphic cards. Crypto was buying graphic cards to make cryptocurrency. People was making high-end gaming, blah, 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 blah. Everybody loved NVIDIA. Okay? And I stay out of it because now that Apple and cryptocurrency is crashing, NVIDIA had lost 55% of its value since the high. It's just ugly. No, I don't need to buy House of Secret right now so that I can lose half my money 3 years from now when nobody care anymore. You know, it's, do I like House of Secret 92? Great book. I love Bernie Wrightson, but let's see why I think House of Secret is not a book that I would call a good long-term investment, because Swamp Thing is not a mainstream A-lister. I like Swamp Thing. I love Bernie Wrightson. But, you know, I can't imagine, you know, Swamp Thing to be an A-lister. No. And when it comes down to comic books, there are plenty of books to choose. Plenty of books to put your money into the book if you are in it for the investment or the speculative reason. Plenty. There's plenty of choices to choose. And to me, House of Secret 92 is not one of them right now. Can it be down the road? Maybe. Why is House of Secret 92 not a good candidate? Because it has risen so much. It has risen so much. You know, we are not in an environment where let's buy high and sell higher. Okay, there's a saying in the stock market for momentum player: buy high, sell higher. That works. That works in a raging bull market. Okay, it does not work when the market is crashing. When the market is crashing, buy high is gonna be called. It would buy high will turn into sell low and blown out. So it's not right now is not the time to buy hot books in hoping to get better price. When the market is coming down, just as I mentioned last week, it's better to put together a shopping list and to start picking up cheap stuff here and there. Okay, it's not about, oh, it's can the market stop going down tomorrow and reverse in both the stock market and the comic market? Maybe. Okay, the answer is no, no way, we're not stop going down, or yes, we are. There is no absolute. I'm no guru. I can't see the future. Okay, I can only speak from experience over the past 30 plus years in trading the stock market, that when a stock market go down in excess of 10%, and we have done two legs of down over 20%. When you have something like that, it's not done. It's not done yet. The market never go down in a straight line. So give it time. There are plenty of time to get back in the stock market. I'm not in a hurry to put my 50% of cash to work. If I see something worth trading for short term, I will. And I have been doing that for the past 3 weeks. If I see something cheap, buy it. Next day, sell it for 2% higher. Move on. Justin said FOMO drive a lot of speculation. Absolutely. Fear of missing out is a dominant force in both comic books, crypto, anything, any speculation. Things that go into this hyper move, straight line up 90-degree, is a result of FOMO. Okay, when there's a huge FOMO move of people chasing, and they can't miss out because, oh my God, it's been going up so much higher and I gotta get in. Yeah. This up here is a whole bunch of FOMO fools. Okay, I call it FOMO fools because I'm willing to bet the people that bought on the straight line up rarely made money, or rarely are quick enough to buy here and sell here. When the line is this, it's counterintuitive for people to say, I got here, I should get the F out here. No, they got here, they get greedy here, they might even buy more here, and then they watch it crash, and then they sit there and say, coulda, shoulda. Yeah, there's a whole lot of that. I've been there, seen it, done that. So horror is never going to go out of style, but horror is never the dominant genre either. So there's my reply to that. It's not, I mean, in the history of this hobby, horror has had its up and down. And right now it's hot, but let's get it very clear. House of Secret 92 is hot. That's it. It's not the horror genre. No one give a crap about House of Secret 91 or 93.
So it's not the genre, it's gonna be somehow saving that book. That book is hard for one reason. The speculators is not done speculating until, you know what, until the TV show its head, right? We all seen how the book behave once the show, if the show launch next year or later this year and it's a total crap, how many people is gonna bet that that book is not gonna be hot anymore? Okay, so yeah, when it comes down to horror genre, it's always a niche following, always has. Okay, but when it comes down to hot books, you can count House of Secret 92 is the soul, the soul player. Okay, because I have a closet full of DC horror that many people don't give a rat ass about. Sunshine Collectings is here, and he said that that book get hot every few years, but always cool off. Possibly, I like I said, I had 4 copies of that book. I sold 3. I have 1 left, which is my keeper. I'm happy with that because that's part of my House of Secret run with Bernie Wrightson and Neil Adams cover. So yeah, it's here to stay. I don't need. I'm out as far as that book's concerned. I already took my money, say thank you, and bye bye. Whatever happened to that book, and that's the other thing. Another thing that I think people should learn from the stock market and transfer it over to this hobby is that for all of us in this hobby, in comic books, that have sold things, it's not a surprise that many of us sold too early. Okay, we could have, if we hold on to something, we could have sold it 20% higher, 30% higher. True. But for every one of those situations, you also see things that, whoo, I'm glad I sold it because now it's 40% lower, 50% lower. Okay, there are plenty of those situations as well. It balances out what I apply, what I try to apply with the stock trading and the comic book trading, I call it, is once you get out of a position and make profit, don't look back. There is no look back. There's no woulda, coulda, shoulda, a whole lot of stuff that consume up time that yield nothing. Okay, I'm the way my mind works is I don't want to expend energy on thinking about things that yield nothing. I don't sit around and dwell on, oh, I missed out on this. Oh, I sold too early on that. No, move on. As a trader, as a stock trader, you have to have that mindset. You can't sit there and dwell on woulda, coulda, shoulda. All right, I can't stress enough that if you are the type that dwell, I have friends that ask me, Nick, I like to learn how to trade. I love to learn how to trade because it looked like something that I like to do. And one of the first thing that I ask anyone that asks me about day trading or want to trade stocks is, do you, how do you behave? How do you feel when you made a bad decision or the wrong decision? Whether that decision is didn't buy something when you should have, or sold something too early, or bought something that was a bad idea. How do you react on those situations? And depend on what their answers are, I will tell them trading is not for you. Okay, because to be a trader, to be a successful trader, you have to have short memory. You have to have memory. You have to learn from your mistake, but at the same time, you can not sit there and dwell and mull and pout over your bad decision. You cannot. Okay, you learn from your mistakes, but at the same time, dwelling on them yield nothing. Random question from Good Age Gold. How do you store your slab? I store them standing up. It's nothing special on how I store my slab. I don't let I don't leave them flat. Okay, I leave them standing up, just like you know. Don't have I don't have anything here to show, but just like in a book in a box, I let them stand up because when the book stands straight up, it is that's a natural state where there's not any kind of stress on the spine or the staple, you know. But in a slab, they are pretty tight. Okay, it's not. I'll give you an example. Since I have a slab sitting here, okay, in a natural state, if a book stand up like this, okay, there's no pressure on the staple area or anything. But the way the slab are put together is a lot of force to hold it tight. So even if you hold it like this, if you store your book, let's say you store your book this way, okay? If you store your book this way, on the glare, and the staple, did I have it right? Yeah, the staple is up here, okay? Does that mean that, oh my God, if you store the book this way, gravity is gonna pull or damage the book in any way? No, it's not, okay? Or if you store the book flat like this, is it gonna make the book go bad and have spine roll? No, the inner well protect the book pretty well that way too. I don't store the book this way. Why? The only reason is how heavy the pile can be, right? You know how heavy these things are. You put 10 books above it, and the pressure is so much that you don't want to scratch the slab or crack the slab. So trust me, the only time where I say don't store the book this way is people that store it like this, where they stack it up as high as they can be. And that's more for to help not damage the slab, not the book. The book is pretty safe inside the inner well in just about any position. It's not foolproof. The inner well is not super tight on some books, okay? So I'm not saying that the book cannot be damaged in the inner well. But for me, the safest way for me is store it straight up, standing like this. Not flat, not this way. Okay, let's look at the time, 9:09. Another 20 minutes to go. So as far as the comic market is concerned, the other thing that I have gotten a couple of questions lately is like, what are on my shopping list? Okay, everything. In a downturn in the stock market like we have now, I'm looking at everything. Okay, I don't sit there and say, I like Home Depot last year, so I'm gonna focus on Home Depot. I'm not focusing on anything specific. Okay, in a down market like we have, I broaden my view. I broaden my scope into as many sectors as I can just to see where the greatest bargain can be. And the same thing with the comic market. I'm not sitting here and saying, I'm only going to focus on the big keys. I'm going to focus on Amazing Fantasy 15 and Fantastic Four #1. And why am I saying that? Guess what? In a down market like we have right now, what declined the least? The big keys. Okay? The big keys decline the least. The middle area keys are the one that take up the most beating. Okay, I don't even know the speculative book. I don't know what the heck's going on with them because that's not in the realm of that's not in my wheelhouse. Okay, I don't speculate on modern variant, so I don't know what the heck is going on with that market, in all honesty. So I can't say, so I stay out of that. But I take a look, I pay more attention to the lower tier book because they the one that can decline 30%, 40% compared to the keys that decline 5%, 10%. So I cast my view, my scope wider to trying to see what else out there is a bargain, or could be a great bargain if I pick them up. Like let's say FF46, for example. This is an example. I'm not saying that I'm not recommending people to run out there and buy FF46, but many of the Fantastic Four book, especially the Inhuman books, mostly ignore. Everybody is focusing on FF1, FF2, 3, 4, 5, and then FF48, 49, 50, and then ignoring the rest. Okay? Well, not the rest, but you know how the market is. For sure, nobody's talking about FF45. Nobody's talking about FF46. Those books has come down a lot. They have. So I'm keeping my close eyes on those because maybe, who say that Marvel is not going to do something with the Inhuman the right way, right? So I'm keeping my eye closely on those books, which I call is a second tier book, right? They're not first tier. They're not. Nobody is comparing FF45 to FF48 or 49. Okay, nobody is saying that. Sunshine said, you ever notice how other collectors market like trading cards share a lot of traits and trends with comics? Absolutely. For those that follow Alpha Investment, he's a big traders, speculators slash investors in what is it? The card game, the Magic the Gathering. Okay, in fact, speaking of which, I need to do a PSA because he just put out a great video. It's like maybe 25 minutes long, but it talk about somebody sent him a letter saying that I have $20,000. How do I approach investing? And he gave a great answer. It's like 20 or 25 minutes long video on his channel, Alpha Investment, that I watched a day or two ago. But when it comes down to investing in anything or speculating, okay, it doesn't have to be just investing. Speculating, investing, trading, you name it. When it comes down to those kind of behaviors, I think there are a lot of similarity because it require the same kind of human behaviors to drove up those things or to drive up the prices, and it require the same kind of human behaviors that cause something to crash, vice versa. The FOMO. So yeah, it's definitely the people that make mistakes in a stock market are likely to make the mistake in comic books, just and vice versa. It's the same thing. It's the behaviors. Those that can analyze behavior science in this would be very interesting to talk to for me. If I can find a psychologist that specializes in stock market behavior, I would love to listen to what he had to say, because the stock market or any investment or speculative market is all about emotions. Okay, it's not about other areas or other reasons. When people talk about the stock market, people tend to talk about fundamental, the company had PE of this or that. At the end of the day, stocks goes up, I'll go down because of emotions, more so than any kind of fundamental nonsense. Fundamental nonsense are just Wall Street jargons that they like to throw out there to make them sound academic instead of emotional. Good is gold say, I feel like the whole DC Silver Age collection is speculative. The good news is that this DC Silver Age keys are so few and far in between. It's not a whole lot of keys. So it's not like Marvel keys. If you collect Marvel Silver Age keys, you would have to spend a lot of money because there are a lot of books between the Avengers title, the X-Men titles, the Spider-Man titles, the FF titles. My God, those 4 titles alone, there's hundreds of keys in there. So big difference compared to DC, which I didn't count, but I'm pretty sure there's less than 25 keys in the Silver Age for DC compared to maybe 150 for Marvel. Yes, Sunshine. Magic the Gathering, it has its ups and downs. For those that have never subscribed to Alpha Investment, go to YouTube. Okay, search up Alpha Investment. Great channel. He is on top of the Magic the Gathering market. If there's any expert out there, if anybody asks me who is the expert that you would recommend for Magic the Gathering, go listen to him. Okay, I'm not saying he's the expert, since I don't follow everyone that know Magic the Gathering. I don't have time for that. I subscribe to one channel just to have my ears in that area. That's all. I have zero interest in Magic the Gathering, zero. And as Sunshine said, he saw people going in there, blowing out their comic collection because they heard, oh my God, Magic the Gathering is so much better investment. Well, hopefully they sold out before last month when that market crashed as well. Justin Woodridge agree that Rudy is an expert, especially in the 93, 94 cards. Yeah, he's really good. I mean, like I said, I listen to him because he's entertaining, as well as have a mindset that I appreciate, because I think he understands the market the way I understand the market. I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering, but when he talk about time to buy, time to sell, time to stay on the sideline, or things to avoid, the mistake to avoid, I think it's very applicable to just about anything that we speculate or invest in. Okay, it's very applicable. Seller Source Pro, hello, welcome to the chat. Almost over. We got 10 more minutes to go before I gotta make breakfast. I can hear my son out there. I'm sure he's saying, where is the Sunday breakfast with eggs and bacon and toast? Yes, that's our ritual every Sunday. Yeah, back to DC. Back to DC. To me, DC Silver Age keys, for the most part, has not gone crazy. They have run up. Showcase 4 has run up quite a lot. But outside of that book, there's a lot of other Silver Age keys that are kind of like, So, is it good to invest in? But, and I don't know, in all honesty, I don't know if investing in DC keys are a good thing. I'm not recommending anyone to go out there and buy up Silver Age DC keys because it's gonna be a great investment return down the road. I'm not saying that at all. Okay, so I'm just saying from my observation, they have not gone up a lot compared to Marvel keys. Could it be because of the movies? Maybe, I don't know. Hey, just take a look at Aquaman. For those that follow the Aquaman movie, guess what? Aquaman has become the highest. Let me repeat. Aquaman has become the highest grossing DC movies. Highest. Over Man of Steel, over Wonder Woman, over Justice League, of course, Suicide Squad, you name it. Aquaman has passed them, and likely could be the first DC movie to get close to 1 billion. Yeah, you hear it here. When it's all said and done, it might be somewhere in the 900 million. So I'm sure some people will tell me, but it suck. How does that play into the grand scheme of things? It doesn't matter what you think, okay? When it comes down to it, you are entitled to your opinion that the movie sucked, but it doesn't play into the grand scheme of things of what you think. But back to Aquaman, has it done anything to any of the Aquaman keys? Not really. Is it because the market is going through a soft patch right now? Maybe, right? There's a lot of things that is not certain, okay? When it comes down to the hobby, like I said many times already, this hobby is very young in comparison to the stock market. It's hard to derive what's going on is, this is why it happened. We don't know. I don't know. I don't know why Aquaman keys are not going up, even though the movie is a huge success. So because of that, how can we even say that, oh, other books is gonna get hot if they get the DC universe right? I mean, outside of All-Star 8 and Wonder Woman 1, how many Wonder Woman book got hot and stay hot and get hotter after the success of the first movie and the sequel is, so it's hard to say, it's hard to say. I don't hate DC, but at the same time, I find it hard to endorse any kind of investment strategy with DC books. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. That's my best answer is I don't know. Let's see, before I go, I'm down to the last 5, 6 minutes. Hello, Mr. Miracle. Speaking of Mr. Miracle, is DC still gonna make a movie? Is DC going to do something with the fourth world and Mr. Miracle is gonna have a chance to be on the big screen? No doubt. Batman keys are probably the most solid investment of all of DC. Okay, when it comes down to DC, that I know. When it comes down to Batman, just like the Joker, okay? When it comes down to Joker's covers, Golden Age, that's solid. Okay, solid. Okay, it's some of the toughest books, most prized Golden Age DC book are Joker's covers, even if they are just covers. Doesn't have to be keys. They are keys by themselves because it's the Joker on the cover. But when it comes down to other title, like I said, I can't help but bring back Aquaman as an example. Like, does anybody hype about Mira first appearance, Ocean Master first appearance? It's just not. It's just the market just not all that excited, regardless of how hot or how successful the movie is. This is why I say caution, pump the brakes with how these books can be worth a good investment if they get the movie things straight. I don't know. Based on what I'm seeing, I don't know. I can't say no, it will not happen. The success of the DCEU is not going to result in a rise in price of Silver Age DC keys. I'm not saying that. My answer is I don't know. I'd rather be that guy than the one that says something stupid and then somebody will hold me accountable later. You said that the best investment is in the DCEU. No, I'm not saying that. Mr. Miracle said that he hoped to see Mr. Miracle on the big screen. I like Mr. You know, for me, I like Mr. Miracle more than many other fourth world creation. Yes, I'm not a big fan of Big Bada. There's a whole lot of characters that Kirby created that was cool, but if I had to pick one, as far as name, look, and everything, I would put Mr. Miracle on top. But that's just me. I'm a Mr. Miracle guy, so. I agree with Sunshine because he said that I don't think the movies are gonna dictate long-term values. They should not. Okay, they should not. The movies give reasons for speculators to hype, to pump, to BS, to chatters. But at the end of the day, does AF-15 need anything? Does a failure of previous Spider-Man movie hurt AF-15? No. Okay? A big fat no. So when it comes down to long run, long-term desirability, the hobby knows. The hobbies knows. The only one that don't know are those that buy into the hype. Okay, you buy stuff that people hype on YouTube and then you wonder why you have a box full of stuff that no one will pay you fair value for later. Seller source, I can't say much about Plastic Man and Police I mean, I've seen the cover of some of the Police comics with Plastic Man. They are pretty fun to look at. But as far as investability of those books, I don't know. I don't follow that segment of the market to know of anything to comment. It would be foolish for me to say something like, do not buy into Plastic Man. Personally, I think DC should do something with Plastic Man on the big screen because he's a fun character for kids. Okay, hey, if they can figure out how to make a lot of movie for kids, Plastic Man would be one of the key characters that I think the young toddler would enjoy seeing somehow if they can figure it out. When it comes down to DC and the big screen, whew, something is seriously wrong for a long time as far as screenwriting and script writing and all that stuff. It's just the fact that they cannot get a Batman movie up in the past few years is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling for a character that is so rich in history with so many stories, so many villains that he can anyone even justify the fact that we have not seen a Batman movies in the past 5 years, 6 years, 7? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that DC failed on this huge error. It's mind-boggling to me that they could not do this. I understand that they done so poorly with Justice League, Batman versus Superman, so they're trying to like pump the brakes and trying to get things right. But my God, getting things right is start with the script. My God, do I need to even talk about bad script with Suicide Squad and all that stuff? Putting out garbage. DC had themselves to blame. Okay, they had plenty of good source material, but they went down a path that they have themselves to blame. It's not about the Marvel fanboy hating on the DC movies. I love Marvel, make no mistake, but you know me, I give a lot of Marvel movies barely a 7 out of 10. Watch once and done. They're nothing great. They fun to watch, often more, not more than once. One of my all-time favorite is Man of Steel. So when I come down to superhero movies, I'm not sitting here bashing on DC. I just want to see good movies. Okay, if it's not great, make it fun, make it interesting. Don't make it stupid. Okay, that's all I gotta say. Agree, Sunshine. You know, trying to compete with Marvel, what's the point? I think competing with Marvel has always been what the fan like. You know how the fans are. A fan like to anoint winners even at San Diego Comic Con. Who won? Who won at last year Comic San Diego? Did Marvel trailer bet? It's stop. Okay. When I hear things like that, it's okay if you're 12 years old. But when I see grown people on YouTube making videos declaring who's the winner of last year's San Diego Comic Con, get out of here. Unsub, bam, done. Stupid. That's why I unsub a lot of channels that talk about movies, because no, if you make content for the sake of the 12-year-old or the 8-year-old that like to hear that kind of debate, go ahead. Not here. I can't dumb down to that level of stupidity. Complete asinine. Well, anyhow, I just look at the time. It's 9:32. The 1 hour is up. I can't believe I keep yapping this much. Anyhow, hopefully people find the chat interesting. Appreciate everyone that joined me, all 23 of you. I will definitely convert this into a podcast. For those that missed what I said before, I realized how poor the audio was for the podcast for the Wednesday night chat. So until I can figure out how to fix that, I will stop loading the Wednesday night chat as a podcast, because the audio is shizzle. It's the shizzle. It's a waste of everyone's time. So don't waste your time. If you want to listen to the Wednesday chat, just go watch the video. Do not download the podcast because it's pure garbage. Okay? Anyhow, until next Sunday, maybe. Goodbye. Time for breakfast.